Now, DeSantis said, my biggest mistake was not objecting to the Trump administration's calls for national lockdown. Well, that's right, but that's not the whole truth. I'm glad to see that he's saying that that is his biggest mistake. But as I point out, Trump threw the first punch at DeSantis a few days ago without naming him. Well, you know, DeSantis is criticizing the vaccines now openly and the mandates openly. Trump tries to walk the line by saying these are great vaccines, but I don't like mandates in principle. You know, we ought to give people carrots. We ought to bribe them to do this. If I was president, I would convince everybody to do this. Right? He would pay them to do it, right? Instead of punishing them to do it. But DeSantis is coming out and saying they don't work. They don't work. He's not saying yet that they make people sick, right? Just a little bit at a time. But right now he's saying they don't work, so why are we mandating it? And so Trump doesn't like that. And Trump, because DeSantis' narrative is moving towards these things being ineffective, hasn't said they're dangerous yet, but just being ineffective. It became awkward for him when he was asked point blank, well, did you get the booster? Well, I don't know. I did the standard thing. I don't know, whatever that was. So then Trump mocked him for being vacillating. And he's right. You know, if DeSantis needs to make up his mind, and so does Trump, right? If these things are our key to life, as Trump wants to say, and if they are 100% safe and 100% effective, then you ought to mandate them, Trump. You know, pull out all the strings and give everybody all the money and all the rest of this stuff. No, when you start going down that path, that is essentially the same thing you've heard for years from the Democrats. Well, I don't like abortions, but they should be legal and we should pay for them. So Trump is saying, I don't like mandates, but we should pay for them and we should give them to everybody, and everybody ought to, you know, roll up your sleeve and take them. That's not a credible situation. That's not a credible response to this any more than the Democrats. Well, abortion is just a tragedy. I hate to see it happen, but it needs to happen, and we need to pay for it. DeSantis, however, you know, he wasn't just taking Trump's orders. He was taking Trump's money, and he was ordering major shutdowns. So that's the reality. See, DeSantis is not being fully upfront with you. He's not telling you the vaccines are bad. He's telling you now the lockdown was bad. He says it was Trump's lockdown. He's right about that, but he participated in it as well. He says, and this is true, DeSantis goes on to say, coronavirus made people realize that the governor is more consequential in your daily lives than POTUS. Now, this is absolutely true, and I'm glad to see somebody saying it for a change. And he has done more to block these vaccine mandates and to block the vaccine application, even though he's afraid to criticize them directly. He's starting to now. He's now said they're not effective. He hasn't said they're not safe, but he started to criticize them. And that's a good thing. And we need to encourage that. But when he says that coronavirus made people realize the governor is more consequential for your daily lives than POTUS, he's doing this as part of a get out the vote. And so it is self-serving, but it's nevertheless, it's true. It's true. Because of COVID, he said, people realize the governor is more consequential in your daily lives than the president of the United States. And oh, by the way, because of COVID and because of governors who did do some lockdowns initially, even though he's done some very creative and good things to stop vaccine mandates, even with private companies, and they're talking about how they're going to fight the CMS mandates. We'll see about that. The people who are really even more important than the governor, as I've said before, the sheriff, the mayor, the town council, that's even more important. Those people are even more consequential to your life than the governor, and the governor is more consequential to your life than the president. All politics is local, and everything now has become political and politicized. So your focus needs to be local. So Trump is coming after DeSantis, and he's not backing down on that either. It's kind of interesting to see some people sending me stuff and criticizing DeSantis because he went to Yale. I've seen this from a lot of people. Well, you know, Stuart Rhodes couldn't do anything wrong for a while, even though he was a Yale graduate as well. So it's, you know, that's he was not Skull and Bones, but he was another one of these other secret societies. Again, don't trust anybody. When he tells you that the governor is more important than the president, that's absolutely right. When he tells you that the vaccines are not effective, he's absolutely right. But we need to get the full truth. The common man. They created Common Core to dumb down our children. They created Common Pass to track and control us. Their Commons Project to make sure the commoners own nothing. And the communist future. They see the common man as simple, unsophisticated, ordinary. But each of us has worth and dignity created in the image of God. That is what we have in common. That is what they want to take away. Their most powerful weapons are isolation, deception, intimidation. They desire to know everything about us while they hide everything from us. It's time to turn that around and expose what they want to hide. Please share the information and links you'll find at thedavidknightshow.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. If you can't support us financially, please keep us in your prayers. thedavidknightshow.com.